Go live.
There we are.
Hello, it is now
Hello.
5 o'clock, Alan.
Hello, Podfeet.
Hello.
You sure
There.
those bells aren't going to be a problem during the recording?
As I recall, last time they did make noise in the recording. Hey, Alan
Look
says
at
it's
that,
time for roll
Alan.
call.
Right on time.
All right. We have Alan and Kevin and Frank O'Carroll and Jill and John and Rose and Rick and Sandy and Michael Westbay from Japan. And we've got Rose from Australia. Anybody else in here I missed? We will not have Grumpy this week. He said he didn't want to hear his own voice, I guess, on the live show because he's doing a recording. And I told him that I would tell you guys to make sure to mock everything he's written or everything he says, since he won't be here to defend himself. I think that'll be appropriate. Right?
Right.
Sounds good. All right. Kevin is mooning us or something in a video. What is he doing?
It looks like he doesn't want us to see it.
Steve, Sandy wants to know where Tesla is.
Well, let's see if I can pull this maneuver off. Hold on.
Well, you got to get her to run around a little bit.
Hey, Tesla. Tesla, come here. Come here, girl.
Get the mic going. Oh, she looks thrilled. She's wearing jingle bells around her neck. She does not like the jingle bells around her neck. I think she's pouting.
It's hard to get up. There you go. Come on, give it a shake.
There we go.
Good job.
All right, Tesla Cam.
Tesla Clam 2000. All right.
All right. Well, I think we should get this show on the road. What do you think, Steve?
Yes.
All right, muting Steve. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, December 19th, 2021, and this is show number 867. Well, I really want to thank the NosillaCastaways for coming through on listener reviews. We've got a full-length show lined up for this week and Christmas weekend, and a really good start on New Year's weekend. So this is fantastic. I was able to spend some quality time with Steve, and I got to spend time with our son Kyle for his birthday, and you guys are really helping us out. Oh, and I got to finish a video tutorial for Don McAllister's Screencast Online without undue stress. So this has really been great, and all the reviews are fantastic. Now, before we get started, though, I want to make sure everyone knows there will be no live show on the 26th of December. And the way you're going to remember it is because the next NosillaCast is actually going to come out on the 23rd, in theory anyway. Maybe it'll give you something fun to listen to as you do your holiday driving, over the hills to grandmother's house and all that. Now, I also want to do one quick follow-up item. Remember last week, I think it was, maybe the week before, I told you about the inexpensive HomeKit-compatible smart plugs from Meros? The end of my story was that the only thing I could find wrong with them was that we couldn't find anything left in the house to automate. Well, guess what? We not only found 2 more things to automate, we bought 2 more Meros smart plugs because we found 2 more things after that we wanted to automate. So never underestimate your ability to find things that you need to automate. You bought 3 as well, Jill? Oh, that's great. Let's see, NosillaCast audio save. Thank you, Kevin. You want a chapter mark? Well, even though he's not here, oh, no, that's not what I meant to do.
I didn't see the chapter mark come up.
I didn't do it yet.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
I'm doing it now. Get ready. Here we go. Copy link. Copy. Ooh, I didn't hear it.
Seemed to work.
Maybe my system sounds. Yeah, my system sounds are muted. There we go. That's why I didn't hear it. Okay, good. Okay, let me get you out of the way and bring up. It's going to be way back. We're even going to squeeze a chit chat in between Christmas and New Year's, me and Bart.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
My goodness.
Okay, here we go. This week's guest on Chit Chat Across the Pond was Adam Engst, publisher of the long-running internet-based email letter. Start that over again. This week's guest on Chit Chat Across the Pond was Adam Engst, publisher of the long-running internet-based email newsletter Tidbits. He came on the show to talk about an article he wrote for Tidbits about the Manifesto for Ubiquitous Linking. Adam started our conversation by taking us into the Wayback Machine to learn about Project Xanadu, which was the vision of Ted Nelson to link all information bidirectionally. Working off that foundational vision, Adam explains that a group of developers and tech visionaries have created the Manifesto for Ubiquitous Linking as a way to encourage the concept of linking as much information as we can within and between apps and operating systems. At the link to the manifesto, you can learn more about the originators, the vision, and the technical requirements for making this all work. Adam even gives us a call to action at the end if we'd like to help see this future realized. Now, I told Adam at the end of this conversation that I knew it was a great talk because my cheeks hurt from smiling talking to him. So I highly encourage you to go over to your podcatcher of choice and subscribe to Chit Chat Across the Pond or Chit Chat Across the Pond Light and look for episode 709 with Adam Engst on the Manifesto for Ubiquitous Linking. And of course, you can follow the link in the show notes. All right. We have a fabulous, I got to look. I'm not sure when the dumb question's going to come up, but John Nassanut and I have been having a very interesting conversation about the show notes and what they mean. And so there's a dumb question in it. Hey, so you guys in the live show, you know John, right? You know he's really snarky. And you know he's really snotty, right? And he says really obnoxious stuff to me. You're all with me on that page, right? I mean, he's not as bad as Kevin, but you know what I'm talking about.
No one is.
Steve thought I was excessively mean because at the end of the dumb question, we went back and forth, and I said, I'm going to make this into a dumb question blog post and going to put it in the show because maybe somebody else is as dumb as you.
Wow.
Steve thought I was too dumb. I was too mean. All right. I think I got to make sure that Mike introduces himself. Let's reviews.
And did you say Mike's not here? Because he didn't want to hear his voice, right?
Well, he's actually not here for another reason, but for Christmas stuff. But he also said he was looking forward to not have. Oh, chapter mark probably, huh? All right.
Yeah, not that you were reminded or anything.
Oh, it made the click this time. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, so the time to badger me is when you don't see it come in, because you should see it fly in. All right, let's hear a little bit of this so you can actually hear John. John is a kind and gentle soul. Have you met him? King. And of course, you can follow the link in the show notes.
Greetings, castaways. Mike Price here, or Grumpy in the Podfeet Slack.
What's wrong?
I heard some noise at the beginning of that recording. A couple clicks and a bump and a click.
Yes, I did too. And I was going to go fix it, but I was waiting to see what you were going to say. He also starts out pretty low. I'm not quite sure why. His voice gets louder. The show notes.
Greetings, castaways. Mike Price here, or Grumpy in the Podfeet Slack, with a review of a travel router called Barrel. For the past decade or so, when I have traveled, I have always brought along a router with me for hotel stays. Initially, my rationale for bringing a router was to avoid per-device charges and other limitations imposed by the hotel Wi-Fi. While over time, these fees and limitations have been discontinued, I have become more aware of the potential for security threats when connecting to public unencrypted Wi-Fi, and thus I have continued to bring along a router with me on my travels. Over the past several years, I have been using the Asus WL330N portable wireless N router as my travel router of choice. However, in the past year or so, I have been having trouble maintaining a reliable network connection with the multiple devices that I bring along with me, specifically my Apple TV and streaming lots of content. Additionally, the WL330N is no longer receiving firmware updates from Asus, And we all know what Bart thinks about internet-connected routers that are no longer receiving updates. So my problem to be solved is to find a replacement travel router, and hence my review. Enter my new little travel buddy, Beryl, the GL-MT1300 from gl.inet. According to the box, Beryl is a pocket-sized travel router with top-notch security features. While I think that pocket-sized might be a bit of a stretch, as it is the size of a deck of playing cards, it is packed with features, including security. Beryl is a modern-day ABGN AC router. It is not Wi-Fi 6 though. It comes with OpenWRT firmware pre-installed and allows for custom firmware to be installed as well. In addition to the typical travel router features supporting multiple modes of access to the internet, router, Wi-Fi repeater rebroadcaster, USB modem, and cellular tethering, there are many other features that you can find in the show notes. But the ones that are of specific note is VPN support for both OpenVPN clients and servers, as well as WireGuard. On a recent trip over the WireGuard.
I'm going to cut that break down. It's a little long.
WireGuard. On a recent trip.
Okay, I think I'm going to keep us moving because Sandy's up next.
Woohoo.
Okay, run from the room screaming, Sandy.
Why would she do that? Because no one likes to hear their own voice.
Exactly.
Yes.
There you go. Who does?
Yeah.
I've gotten used to it. It sounds a little tinny to me, but
Your voice doesn't sound tinny.
it does when I hear it on the recordings.
Okay.
Totally used to your voice. All right. Yeah, that's a good point, Joe. You get used to it, but you never love it. All right, I'm going to do a little recording here. I'm not going to chapter mark just yet, but good job to remind me.
Got it.
And stay secure.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mike. That's really interesting. I posted the link to the blog post that Mike wrote and in our Slack at podfeed.com/Slack, and you should join it there. And Bart made the best comment. He said, "Isn't that the cutest little router you've ever seen? It is pocket size. It's like the size of the palm of your hand, and the price is sure right. So that definitely looks like a good little stocking stuffer. Might need to pick up." All right. Next is Sandy. Sunday. Oh, chapter mark. All right. Copy link. That was a little muted on the sound there. All right, Sandy. Cover your ears. Let's see. I think you introduce yourself. I might need to pick up.
Hi, this is Sandy.
It's a little hiss I'm going to get rid of there.
Hi.
Stuff I might need to pick up.
Hi, this is Sandy Foster with a review of 12 South's PowerPick Mod wireless charger. First of all, I should say that I've purchased from 12 South before. I have their AirFly Bluetooth transmitter for wireless headphones, which I've loved using on airplanes in the past and will again when I can finally travel once more. I also have the AirSnap Pro, a very nice leather case for my AirPods Pro. Mine is a pretty pale blue color since I'm not big on brown, the other option, and it has a carabiner to snap securely onto my bag. It also allows for charging the AirPods either with a cable or wirelessly without removing the case. I added the PowerPick mod to my collection recently when it was on a Black Friday special. I chose the white model and I like it very much. I keep it on my bedside table, but it would be equally at home in any room of the house as it's really quite good looking. So what is it? And what problem does it solve? Basically, it's a Qi charger that will charge an iPhone or AirPods like many other chargers. However, it's also a picture frame, which is a very nice touch. You can use the included graphic, or you can opt for a photo from your own collection. This solves the aesthetic problem of so many chargers being rather odd-looking, if not downright ugly, if that's important to you. So how does this charger work? The PowerPick mod is a lucite base with a wide slot in the bottom into which a pair of lucite slabs slide after adding your photo or graphic between them. The two slabs are held together with tiny magnets, and the entire thing slides quite firmly into the slot in the base. Since it takes a bit of force to get that put together, it's not going to fall apart when you move it. Additionally, the picture-holding frame can be inserted into the base either in portrait or landscape orientation according to your preference. Included in the well-thought-out packaging is a USB-C cable, though you will need to provide your own 20-watt USB-C power adapter. I've found it extremely easy to use. I simply place my iPhone 13 Pro up against the photo, and it connects and charges without any drama or fiddling. Even the camera bump isn't a problem. Because the phone is charging vertically rather than flat on my bedside table, it takes up very little space, and I can rely on my phone being completely charged in the morning.
Yay, Sandy!
Well done,
That was
Sandy.
great.
Good
This
review.
is such a
Perfect.
cute thing. I think it's interesting that Kevin and I both said "dear friend" one right after the other. That's the right voice. All right, let me say something here.
And I can rely on my phone being completely charged in the morning.
This is such a cute idea. Sandy sent a photo, and it's in the show notes, of her dog on her screen of her phone, but behind it you can see the picture that she put in the picture frame in the charger. And it's just kind of an interesting idea that your electronics can be a little piece of art when you're not actually using them. Thank you so much, Sandy. Really appreciate it. All right, now we've got Bodie Grimm. Bodie is so busy right now. I can't believe Bodie did these.
So, chapter mark in this or no?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. Okay. There we go. And I think he introduces himself. But I got to at the end remember to talk about the Kilowatt podcast. I'm really glad you guys are going to hear Bodie, because you'll get a sense of how self-deprecating he is, because he's like one of our favorite people we've met this year. We're actually going to get to see him in theory in January, right?
Hey, Al, I'm
Yeah?
not seeing. Okay, so this doesn't have a blog post. So
Yes, it does.
okay, I don't see it in the in your.
It's way back. They got all out of order in time. This should be it.
It's not showing up.
I just gave it to
as-
you in Telegram. Could you
No.
try it?
I'm just saying it's not in your blog post. Maybe you're gonna put that in later. Is that the idea?
So I know I added it later. Let me push to the blog post again. Yeah, sorry. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I had not added the blog post until after I sent it the first time. So it's on its way. You're right. Yep, there you go. If you refresh, you should see it now.
Okay.
All right. So let's hear Bodie on TruePhone. Bodie sent in 2 reviews, so I get to do one a little bit later. All right, here comes Bodie. Okay, here we go. Sandy, really appreciate it.
Hello everyone, Bodie here, and I would like to talk to you about the Apple Watch. And more specifically, I want to talk to you about family setup and the Apple Watch. I know the Nozilla Castaways are a very tech-savvy group, but I'm just going to go over the basics of family setup for the Apple Watch, just in case there are people out there who aren't really familiar with it. What family setup allows you to do is to set up an Apple Watch for a family member who doesn't own an iPhone. For example, this could be for a spouse who doesn't necessarily like technology. They don't want to carry a phone around, but you still need to get a hold of them. So you can set this up and they can receive phone calls and send texts from their Apple Watch. Another example might be a relative who's got a lot of medical issues and you want them to be able to call you or 911 just in case of an emergency. And that's really important. But more important than that you're also giving this relative the ability to interact with other people outside of their house, which we've all learned over the last, nearly 2 years, how important it is for us mentally to stay connected with one another. And my last example is the one that is most relevant to my situation, and that is kids. My kids are getting to the age where they're starting to get more independence outside of the house. And that's a good thing. My wife and I don't want to take that away from them. They're roaming the neighborhood a little bit more. They're coming home on the bus and they're making sure they get to the house on their own. And what my wife and I wanted to do was to give my kids a little bit more independence, but allow us to contact them when we need to, or them to contact us just in case there's an emergency. Well, here's the problem. My wife and I use a cell provider called Visible, with a V, like Victor. Visible is an MVNO, which is a mobile virtual network operator that is owned by Verizon. I'm not here to shill for Visible, but it is a really good company and I'm very happy with it so far. And I've been on it for about 4 years. Anyway, the problem is with Visible is they don't support family setup on their network, even though Verizon does. You can add a Apple Watch to your Visible account for $5 a month, which is ridiculously cheap, but it is attached to your phone number that's on your iPhone. So that didn't work for my wife and I, which was very unfortunate because we're both really happy with the service, but it looked like we were going to have to switch to a different provider. So that left us with AT&T, T-Mobile. And finally, there's Verizon. Verizon owns Visible, so it makes the most amount of sense for our family to go with Verizon, even though it's going to cost more money. We're really happy with the service. So I go to my local Verizon store. I say, hey, I want to switch over from Visible to Verizon. They're like, great. They try to switch the numbers over. And since Visible owns Verizon, it's already a Verizon number. And I can't switch from Visible to Verizon without first switching to AT&T or T-Mobile or some other cell provider, which that's not going to work for me. So I went to Apple's support page to see if there were any other supported carriers. And it turns out there's a couple of them. US Cellular, not really a thing in my area. There's another provider called C Spire, which is mostly in the Mississippi area. And then there's TruePhone. And I was like, what is TruePhone? TruePhone is a company that's been around since 2006. They started as a voice over IP provider, but then eventually they worked their way into eSIMs. So you can, if you have a modern day phone, it could be an iPhone or an Android phone, you can get a virtual SIM and have a phone number for whatever country you're traveling to, or I guess even living in. So the really neat thing about TruePhone is you don't need to have your iPhone on their network in order to use Family Connect. And I think this is the only one, at least operating in the United States, this is the only cell provider that gives you that option. So all you need is iOS 14 on your phone, WatchOS 7 on your watch, and you're willing to fork over $9.99 a month to TruePhone. And I was a little skeptical because I'm going to be honest, their website is not super slick. It's not bad. It's just very basic. So when I clicked the link from the Apple support page to go to the TruePhone family setup page, it tells you for $9.99 a month, you get a US phone number, unlimited data, voice and SMS, no lock-in contract, fast 4G data speeds, and voice calls, which is everything we need and nothing we don't. Creating an account was super easy. Setting up the Apple Watches for both kids, it took no time at all, less than probably 30-45 minutes total. And that includes creating the account and setting up the Apple Watches and making sure everything's working. It didn't take very long at all. The only downside is my kids don't have an Arizona area code, but that's not the end of the world. But let's get to the thing you all want to know about is how well does this work? It actually works really well. It is super easy for my kids to use. I can manage their watches from my iPhone. It's not a big deal. The only downside is that my kids will be up in their bedrooms and I'll be in the kitchen or something, or maybe in the basement, and they will call me or text me instead of walking their little booties down the stairs to talk to me. That's the only downside. So yeah, I've yammered on for long enough. Hopefully this is helpful to you. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.
I love Bodhi.
Bodhi's good. Hey, there's a slight typo or omission for not 4G, so I'm going to just do a quick fix on that.
Okay, this one was transcribed by otter.ai. It says that at the up front, so any typos you find, you can fix them.
That's the only one that I saw. That's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I've been through it a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure I've missed some. Okay.
Hopefully, this is helpful to you. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.
I am so glad Bodhi sent this in, mostly so that all of you get an idea of how awesome Bodhi is. If you haven't checked out the Kilowatt podcast by Bodhi, you are really missing something. It is centered on electric vehicles of all different types. He goes over the news, but he is one of the most self-deprecating podcasters I've ever met, and I just love him to pieces. So I hope you'll go over to 918 Digital and check it out, or, of course, look for the Kilowatt podcast in your podcatcher of choice.
All right.
All right.
Up
How
next,
about-
a tiny tip, which might include music.
I'm actually going to do a little work.
What, real-time work? Like you're going to have
Yeah,
to
I mean,
talk
I'm
into
actually
the
going
mic?
to, I'm going to record something. Yeah.
So
All
first
right,
up,
so- What?
chapter mark.
Yes. There's something filling my entire screen on Discord.
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
That's nice. It's nice, Kevin. Just do it once. It's too many. It's too many. And wait until they think I'm going to forget it. Would be slightly better, but okay. Here we go. Muting Steve. I'm actually going to start doing a little bit of work here and do a recording for you myself. No, that's not right. Oh, no, it's Tiny Tip music. That's what I need. Tiny Tip. There we go. Well, you know what that music means? It means it's time for a tiny tip. Have you ever copied a URL from a website to send to someone and it turns out to be giant? I mean, like 10 lines long giant? It's embarrassing, and it's also likely to turn off your recipient from clicking the link and seeing the funny TikTok video or buying the gift you wanted. There's a very easy method to make the link still work and yet shorten it up quite a bit. I learned this method because of an episode of Programming by Stealth where Bart taught us how URLs work, and he broke them down into their constituent parts. These long URLs that you get are created so that the website receiving them could figure out how you got to their website, or maybe how you searched within their website. For example, they might like to know what you searched for to arrive at their site in hopes of measuring the success of their search methods. As an example, I went to Amazon and I searched for women's winter coats. I then selected one of the coats. The URL I copied after doing this search on Amazon is 430 characters long. In these giant URLs, you'll find a question mark. This question mark is beginning of what is called, not beginning, this question mark is the beginning of what is called the query string. After the question mark, you'll see some text followed by an equal sign and then some more text. The text before and after the equal sign is called a name-value pair. In my code example, I could see keywords equal winter coats for women. You can see how this information would be valuable to Amazon. What did I search for? Now, that wouldn't be too stupid to have on the copied URL, but these URLs often go well beyond that. After the first query string, you may see an ampersand and another name-value pair separated by equal signs. These can be readable, like the example I just gave, or they might be a giant pile of glops of text and numbers, and you can have lots and lots and lots of these key value pairs. And you can have... Why am I still hearing you? I think I'm listening to... Yes, there we go. Okay. And there's usually not just one of these name-value pairs. There can be bunches and bunches of them. Here's the useful part of what I just explained. The entire query string can be removed from the URL, and it will still work to get to the same place on the web. Be sure to remove the question mark when you cut the query string off. After removing the query string on the giant URL for the winter coat on Amazon that I mentioned, the URL drops down from 430 characters to only 92. Now, it's a little tricky to select the text of a URL without actually letting it navigate there, but you'll get the hang of it after a while. I would suggest testing your newly shortened URL before sending it, just to make sure it still works. I use this trick all the time, and I think it increases the likelihood that my recipients will actually click my links. I hope you find it useful as well, and thanks to Bart for always teaching us something new.
That's a perfect tiny little tip.
Alrighty then. A tiny tip.
Yeah.
And now I think no chapter mark. I will save, though. All right. Alan is just typing gibberish into the chat. I see that. That's good, Alan. Testing your key skills. All right. So do you have you tried doing that, Jill, or did you already know that one? That URL trim? Coolio. All right. With this penultimate 2021 NosillaCast, I'd like to take a quick pause to celebrate 4 more of our long-term patrons. Alex Friedman, Norbert Frassa, Frank Petrie, and Ian Lessing have all been supporting the show since 2018. These fine folks have chosen to be patrons of the show through Patreon by picking a dollar amount that shows their appreciation level for the work we do here. Now, inside your own little head there, I'd like you to thank them for helping bring this show to you. If you'd like to be fine folk like Alex, Norbert, Frank, and Ian, head on over to podfeed.com/Patreon and pledge what you feel is right for you.
I recognize 3 of those people.
And the show notes say 8. That's because I changed it from 4 to 8, or 8 to 4. Okay, so I'm just going to do... Barry on Chamberlain's not a good title. Let me fix this title up a little bit. Barry on Chamberlain's My Q Smart Garage Door Opener. Smart. Whoop. There we go. So I'm going to put in a chapter mark, but it's not going to be that exciting. I mean, I guess I could put a link to Chamberlain if they wanted. I'll do that. That'll confuse the heck out of John. There, that one will take you right to the John. The URL you will see for Barry on the MyQ will take you directly to his actual, or to the thing he's actually reviewing, like you want it to, but you're not going to always get that. Okay. Barry. Okay, Barry's coming up here. Yeah, Barry. Barry moves up to the front. I think I'm going to use this one. This one's actually a conversation. Right for you. Well, I'm excited to... A little too quick. Just a smidge over. Is right for you. Well, I'm excited to have Barry Falk on the show today because he has a new toy that I feel somewhat responsible for him getting. And if you haven't met Barry before, this will be a real pleasure for all of you. Barry, welcome to the show. All right, cool. He has a... Can you guys hear his voice? I know sometimes...
I can hear it.
You can't.
I can.
Oops. Nope. Wrong keystroke.
I think we all hear him. They hear him on Discord. I hear him on Mimo.
This is weird. Listen to this. For him getting, and if you for him getting,
are you not hearing me, Allison?
Me twice. I'm just
Allison.
That. A real pleasure for all of you. Barry, welcome to the show.
I don't think Allison's hearing me.
Well, thanks, Allison. And yes, you are absolutely responsible. But I'm very excited to be talking about one of my new toys.
All right, cool. So Barry and I have known each other for a long time, but you go all the way back in the Mac community. Barry is responsible for the existence of the Mac conference we go to in Chicago, or we used to in the before times, and we will in the future times.
Absolutely. So yeah, about what was it, 6 years ago, I think we ran the first Midwest Mac barbecue, which became the.
Steve, they're saying you want to talk to me.
I've been talking, and apparently you weren't hearing
Sorry,
me.
I've muted you on both channels.
Oh, okay. That
what did you need?
Nothing. You were asking if we could hear, and I was in Mimo. I could hear. I just wanted you to make sure.
Oh, okay. I think what I did was I muted Mimo at the beginning, and then when I heard you talking, I realized I didn't mute you yet in Discord, but I didn't turn you back on in Mimo. Sorry.
Nope.
Okay. We're clear to go?
We're clear. You got the go codes.
Okay, I'm only gonna go a few minutes on this, and we're actually gonna do one thing after this, and then we're gonna call it probably early.
Let me put a link in there.
That started MacStock.
Don't say
yeah,
germ.
I've been or germinated, right?
Yeah, no, don't say that. It was the brainchild that started the whole thing.
And it was definitely a lot of fun, and part of that was by being part of the Mac community way back in the day in Macworld and user conferences and user meetings. I enjoyed them so much. And so it was really sad when that was put on hiatus, but of course, things do change. So it's nice that we still have that opportunity. And thanks for having me around, because as you know, I do like to, when I can, travel and just kind of show up at random.
All right. Well, we've got a Coke Zero still waiting in the fridge for you that you left here like 2 years ago. So it should be super fresh when you get here. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. I got a message from Barry's fabulous wife, Bobby Ann, asking me about whether I could recommend a smart garage door opener, whether I thought that was a cool idea. And of course, I thought, yes, it's a cool idea. But as I recall, what I told her was that I think it would remove half the fun of doing it if she picked it out for you, or if I picked it out for you. That the fun would be researching and figuring out which one you could get. And I made a suggestion, but I think you actually did the research on your own, right?
Yeah. So I did look at that point when, again, she had to tell me at some point that she had had this secret conversation with you. And I'm like, yeah, this is a really great idea. And I had had a couple frustrations with what my current situation was, which was just a standard garage door. It worked fine. It had the remote kind of thing in the car. But over time, it seems like the quality was degrading. So I'd almost have to be right in front of the garage door for it to open. I'm like, well, that's kind of pointless. Plus, there was no automation at that point. So it really was a good opportunity to start looking. So I looked at different.
So before you go on, I do want to, I was really surprised to hear you say that, because we thought we had a unique problem that our garage door, we would have to be right up on it. And it's like, you used to be able to get it as I made the turn in the driveway, and now I have to be in the driveway. Sometimes I have to press the thing 5 times. Sometimes it wouldn't open at all. And yet, I mean, Steve played around with moving the antenna and everything, trying to get it to be able to see when we were in the driveway. But it's like, it's exactly the way that you described it. It degraded.
Exactly. And I was doing the same thing. I'm like, is there something wrong? I tried resetting the system, moving things around. Did I create new interference somehow? And I couldn't find anything logical. So at some point I just said, all right, now this is the inspiration I needed to, let's look at something new. And how can we, add it to HomeKit or some sort of automation so I can start doing some really cool things with it.
Now, Barry is one of these people who doesn't just, get a smart light bulb and learn how to tell S lady or A lady or G man how to turn on a light. You actually have a smart plant in your house. You had to turn your plant off before we started talking.
I've got one of those Aero Gardens that does the indoor water thing, and it's got timers and things, and it's all controlled remotely. But the problem is that the background noise is pretty loud, so I had to make sure I turned it off.
Is it when it's watering itself that it makes noise?
Yeah, it kind of like circulates the water. It's really good. I mean, it's like I get a new bowl of lettuce about once a week out of this thing.
Wow, that is really cool. I also want to say we didn't realize what kind of luxury we live in with so much sunshine as when Barry was at our house and we said, hey, we should have oranges with breakfast. And we went out into the backyard and picked a couple. And Barry just sat there shaking his head.
I'm used to oranges coming in crates or bags at the grocery store. And it really literally is it. So it's it's neat that I can do these kind of things. So it isn't just the Aero Garden.
It isn't just the convenience of being able to press a button and open the garage door. It's some automation that you're looking for, right?
Absolutely. And kind of my goal is not only did I want to fix the issue where I was on top of the garage, because, okay, at least I don't have to go outside and lift it like I did as a kid. But I wanted to get to the point of, as I drive to the house, that it securely knows I'm in.
Okay, so Barry sent me his recording, and I could, unfortunately, I didn't realize that he wasn't wearing headphones. This is a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Barry wasn't wearing headphones when he was doing the recording, so his recording has me. You can, whenever I'm talking, you can hear me on his mic. Do you think the reason I'm bringing this up is there's a slight hiccup in his audio here, and I'm wondering if it's worth me spending the time trying to find the spot in his recording of him to fix it. So listen to this and see how bad it is.
All right.
But I wanted to get to the point of, as I drive to the house, that it securely knows I'm in the vicinity.
We don't lose any we don't really lose content. I mean,
yeah, probably take me 10 minutes to find it.
I don't think that's worth it.
Okay, in case we find another one that's worse, that was at 3017. Okay.
And then open it up. I mean, that's really a simple but worthwhile goal.
That never even occurred to me to do that, Barry. Okay.
I'm lazy. I mean, that's the driver, right? Is I'm lazy ultimately, but I'll spend a ton of time figuring it out, so I have this wonderful automation.
Well, and that's what I always say is, to me, the best automation is when it knows what you want. I don't know why that never occurred to me. Now I've got to go do that.
There you go.
Okay, so which one did you choose?
So we did a lot of research, and ultimately I ended up with the Chamberlain smart garage door opener. And there are variations of them. Some come with a backup battery, for example. Some have cameras. But of course, the important thing was to make sure it could do some level of HomeKit. Because on its own, they have their own system called MyQ, and it has its own app, and it's good. But then those automations beyond just, some basic opening, like it's nice. I can remotely check to see if it's on, get the video, but I couldn't do the automation, the geofencing or tying it to another command. And that's really where I wanted to go. So HomeKit was really important for me here. And they have a fairly wide range, and there are other similar garage door openers. In fact, I think LiftMaster and Chamberlain are essentially the same device.
Yeah. So did you replace the large box that grabs hold of the cable and pulls up the garage door? You replaced that?
Personally, no.
Oh,
I'm not allowed near power tools, so for good reason.
That's what ATM
so we did have
credit cards are for.
Exactly. I can write a check. I can give a credit card number. So I actually called the original installer that did it for this house and explained what I wanted to do. Did they have experience with it? They're like, absolutely. So that was great. They came out, removed the other one. We did run into one thing that it's kind of a gotcha. Make sure you know certain things like the height of your garage door and the length of that belt that's required to lift it up.
Oh.
Ours, the one out of the box, was too short. It would only lift the garage door about halfway.
Oh, you're kidding. How big is your garage?
It's a pretty tall door. I'd say it's about 8 or 9 feet.
Oh,
I guess it's larger than standard. And because of that, we also had to pull it farther in to the garage.
Right. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. This is such a fun interview. We had a really good time. So let's see. 52 minutes. That is longer than I thought it would be. Okay, I'm going to show you the shenanigans I'm going to have to do what Steve wants me to do. What could possibly go wrong? We're going to add an application input to... we just do it into Al's mic, I think. Oh, no. Let's not mess with the live show.
You can't just throw it in Hindenburg?
I could, but we're not going to play it. We're not going to keep it in Hindenburg, right? No, we're going to play it, but we're not going to keep it.
Right. You could play it
right
without redoing your wiring. You could put it in there and just delete it.
No, let's mess with the wiring.
Well, you can do the hard way.
Yeah. Okay. So this is loopback. And what I'm going to do is YTL input is how you guys hear, we call it YouTube live input, but it's how you're hearing my microphone and Hindenburg at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add QuickTime to this and let's see, select application, and we'll just pick QuickTime here. You can't see that window, but I can't move it over. So I'll just look for it here. Q QuickTime. Okay. And we'll open that. And now we got QuickTime there, and I don't want to mute when capturing because I want to be able to hear it. And now I move this out of the way, and now I'm going to open something Steve wanted me to play for you this week. We are going to play this in the podcast next week, but
It seemed timely since this is the last live show of the year.
Yeah. So now, in QuickTime, here we go. Hopefully you should be able to hear this.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a trackpad. Okay, work with me here. The earbuds were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that all things eye maker soon would be there. The NosillaCastaways were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of iPads danced in their heads. And Podfeet in her kerchief and I in my cravat had just settled down for a long winter Skype chat. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the keyboard to see what was the matter. Away to the windows! I flew like a flash drive, tore open the shutters, and nearly did a nosedive. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of brushed aluminum to objects below. When what to my eyes seemed very bizarre, but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny cars. With a little old driver with whom elves hobnob, I knew in a moment it must be Honda Bob. More rapid than 4G his vehicles they came, and he tweeted and shouted and called them by name. Now Accord, now Civic, now Fit and CRV, on Element, on Ridgeline, on Pilot and Odyssey, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now drive away, drive away, drive away all. As dry leaves that before the reality distortion field endowed, when they meet with an obstacle mount to the cloud, so up to the housetop the vehicles they flew, with the sleigh full of Apple products, and Honda Bob too. And then in a twinkling, I heard with a squeal the skidding and sliding of each little wheel. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney Bob came with a bound. He was dressed in coveralls from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with oil and soot. A bundle of SSDs he had flung in his Scotty vest, and he looked like a geek who was extremely obsessed. A wink of his eye and a look not too pious soon gave me to know he had an Apple bias. He spoke not a word, but texted his concern, and he filled all the stockings and then hit return. And laying a finger aside his levitation app, a command to his iPad, up the chimney, ASAP. He sprang to his sleigh, and the autos did they bristle, and away they all flew as if shot from a missile. But I heard him exclaim, as the poem prescribed, Happy Christmas to all, and please stay subscribed.
Very nice, Steve.
Merry Christmas.
Why isn't this working? Huh.
I didn't know Santa was a NosillaCastaway, but apparently he is.
Well, this one was.
Yeah.
Wait. All right. So I didn't know you've been listening that long, Alan, that you knew of Honda Bob. He was the best. Absolutely the best. But I think that was a good idea to read that, Steve, because that let us say Merry Christmas to everybody here.
Yeah, that was basically for you guys in the live show.
Yeah.
You folks.
All right. Save, and I'm going to take us out. All right. Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. And remember, there is no live show next week, and the show will come out early. But in the meantime, did you know you can email me at allison@podfeet.com anytime you like? If you have a question or a suggestion or a review, you can just send it on over. Now, I'm no longer on Facebook, so Twitter's a good place to follow me online at Podfeet. Better yet, I'd love it if you join our Slack community at podfeet.com/Slack. It is hopping over there, but in just chatty enough way. It's not too chatty, but a lot of new people have come in lately. I assume they're Facebook refugees, and we welcome them all with open arms. A lot of people are having conversations, helping each other. We've been just having a blast in there. So again, go to podfeet.com/Slack to join our community. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can support the show at podfeet.com/Patreon, or you could do a one-time donation at podfeet.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, except not next week. And there you can join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. There's some vocal fry. Stay subscribed. So here's a question, guys. Should we have a live show on January 2nd? Would anybody show up if we did?
Yeah, that's doable now that we're not going to CES.
Yeah, we were definitely not going to. Okay, Sandy would be there. Alan would be there. Jill says, I don't know anything. Michael would be there. Alex, we can do it then.
Sounds like we should.
It'll be another show like this. It'll all be pre-recorded, but we'll just goof around.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, we'll do it. Let me check this ending here.
So you having a live show next week?
Oh, for the love of Pete. Alan, I fully expect you to send me a note asking me where the live show is next Sunday on the 26th. Next week is podcast marathon. What's that? Is that something real, Jill?
All the podcasts just have their recording at 10. Oh, you are, Jill?
Oh, you're recording a ton. Okay. Well, you'll need a break to listen. Come play with your friends here. I'm going to play this ending here. Listening and stay subscribed. Oh, you want to get the goofing around is what we come for. Yeah. I always think it's to hear me talk about the show, but it clearly is not. I think we should do a chapter mark count. What do you think?
I agree.
There is a show. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of which is not a link. What do you get? $6.
Yes.
There's
right, including Barry, 6.
Alan just wrote, reminder, there's no podcast next week. Now, I want you to, there's a typo, Alan. I want you to just send yourself that next Sunday night. Sound good? All right, let me export this and find my export folder. Mono, there we go, export. All right. Well, everybody, I think we should call it, Steve.
I think we should.
Merry Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, have a good holiday no matter what. And I hope you get lots of good tech gadgets as gifts. That's the main thing. All right, Steve, you want to sign off too?
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for being with us throughout the year. Oh,
Merry Christmas.
Ducky says bye.